Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kansas City, Kansas Community College in Kansas City, Missouri, where they host the Fort Scott Greyhounds from Fort Scott, Kansas. The Greyhounds are leading the conference right now with a 17-3 lead. Your Kansas City, Kansas Blue Devils are 11-9 in fourth place. The critical piece is to be in the top five. Of course, you always want to be at the top, but the top five will host games when the playoff begins. The top five teams will host the bottom five teams from the other division. They cross bracket that from east to west. Play a best 2 out of 3, and all of those best 2 out of 3 winners will go to Wichita to play for the right to go to Grand Junction, Colorado. I want to welcome those of you that have subscribed today and those of you that are listening on MixLR as well. Starting lineup for Fort Scott Community College, McConnell will lead off playing in center field. Solomon, the third baseman, will bat second. Wilson, the right fielder, will bat third. In cleanup is Morrow in left field. Waterbury is the first baseman. He will bat fifth. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, Fraley. Batting seventh, Moore at shortstop. Batting eighth, Kiefer, the catcher. And Kazarin, the second baseman, will bat ninth. On the mound is Folsom. That's the starting lineup for the Fort Scott Community College Greyhounds. Starting lineup for Kansas City, Kansas Community College Blue Devils, Schumacher will lead off in left field. Pittman will be the center fielder, batting second. Santiago at shortstop, batting third. On my lineup card, I have two designated hitters. One of them will play first base. One of them will be a designated hitter. Batting fourth is Still. He will most likely be at first base. I believe I've got a typo here. Green will be at third base and batting fifth. Batting sixth is Mooney, the second baseman. Batting second is Gifford, the designated hitter. Batting eighth is Rory Combs in right field. Behind the plate is North. He will be the catcher of the first game, batting ninth. On the mound for the Blue Devils, Gakey. Gakey has had some nice outings. He generally leads off the 4-game series with each team. He'll be on the mound today, so it'll be Schumacher, Pittman, Santiago, Still, Green, and Mooney, Gifford, Combs, in North with Gakey on the mound. We'll take a short break. We'll be back to get ready for the start of this one. Welcome, everyone, and I'll be right back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! The standings in the KJCCC baseball divisions, the Eastern Division, which your Blue Devils are in, Fort Scott's in first place, actually tied with Cowley County, both 17-3. In third place is Johnson County, 12-8. Your Blue Devils are 11-9. Neosho County and Allen County are tied for fifth. They're both 10 and 10. Seventh place, Coffeyville, 8 and 12. Eighth place, is Independence. They're 6 and 14. Highland is 5 and 15 in ninth, and Labette is 4 and 16 in 10th. In the Western Division, Barton is in first place. Butler is in second. Colby's in third. Cloud County 12 and 8. They are in fourth. Hutchison's in fifth. Dodge City's in sixth. Garden City is tied with Seward County for seventh. And then ninth place is the 5 and 15 Pratt. And that is your conference standings currently. As I mentioned earlier, it's always good to be in the top 5 of your division, because the top 5 will host a 3-game playoff, and the winner of that 3-game series will go on to Wichita. So it's important to get those 3 games, or possibly 2 games if you win the first 2. It's a best 2 out of 3 to see who goes to Wichita. We're getting closer to that. I believe we might have 3 weekends after this weekend, and that will get us to playoff time in the end of April. Going to take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes to get this started. Thanks for listening. Coaches are going over the ground rules with the umpires at this time. 2-game set scheduled for 1 and 4 o'clock today here at KCK. On Saturday, we will travel down to Fort Scott, Kansas, where we will finalize the 4-game set. An important 4-game series for the Blue Devils, as Fort Scott is in first place along with Cowley County. With the being about 3 weeks until the playoff starts, it's important to be in that top 5, as I mentioned. We will take a short break. We'll be back after the anthem. I scheduled to do without the anthem, not because I'm not a firm believer in the anthem and our flag and those things. I am very much, but most of all because of copyright issues. Sometimes YouTube could choose to mute my broadcast, and I certainly don't want to have that happen. So I always bypass the anthem just to make sure that I'm able to bring the audio version to you. So we'll take a break. They're going to do the anthem pretty quick, and we'll be back to get the starting lineups for the audio listeners, and we'll be back in a moment. All right, welcome once again to the campus of Kansas City, Kansas Community College, where there are 2 conference baseball games going on today. I want to welcome you to these games. Sun shining, a little bit of breeze blowing out toward left field. These 2 teams will play a 7-inning game, then a 9-inning game today, and then they'll follow it up with the final 2 games down in Fort Scott, Kansas. For the final 2 games, I believe they're also listed at 1 and 4 o'clock. They may get started a little bit earlier than that. Generally, they finish the first game, and about 25 to 30 minutes later, they start the second one. So the starting lineups, once again, for Fort Scott is McConnell will lead off in center field. Batting second is Solomon at third base. Batting third is Wilson in right field. Batting cleanup is Morrow in left field. Batting fifth is Waterbury at first base. Batting sixth, the designated hitter Fraley. Batting seventh, Moore at shortstop. Kiefer will bat eighth. He's the catcher. And Kazarin, the second baseman, will bat ninth. On the mound is Folsom. That's the starting lineup for the Greyhounds of Fort Scott Community College. For your Kansas City, Kansas Community College Blue Devils, Schumacher will lead off in left field. Pittman will bat second in center field. Batting third is Santiago, playing shortstop. Batting fourth and playing at first base is Still. Batting fifth is Green. He's playing third base. Batting sixth is Mooney, playing at second base. Batting 7th, Gifford. He's the designated hitter. Batting 8th is Combs. He's in right field, and behind the plate is North. He will bat 9th. On the mound is Gakey. Cole Gakey from Liberty North. Liberty North High School, where he played. So across the outfield, it's Schumacher in left, Pittman in center, Combs in right. Across the infield from left to right, as you look at the field, is Green at third, Santiago at shortstop, Mooney at second base, Still at first base, Gakey on the mound, and North behind the plate. Once again, welcome. I appreciate those listeners that I have today. Two more throws to get things started, and we'll be ready to go here in this conference contest between the first placed Fort Scott Greyhounds and your Kansas City, Kansas Blue Devils, who are currently in 4th place. So a big series. McConnell, the center fielder, will lead things off. He starts the day batting .398. Gakey, a right-handed pitcher. Green in a couple steps on the grass. Left-hander batting at the plate is McConnell, and we're set for action. Here comes the first pitch. It is high and outside, ball 1. One and oh the count. Here comes the pitch from Gakey to McConnell. There's a foul right back at me, so 1 ball, 1 strike to McConnell. Comes the 1-1. Pop up on the infield. We'll see who comes in. Mooney comes in and calls that and takes care of it for the first out of the game. That's going to bring up Solomon. Solomon will also bat on the left-handed side. He steps in with 1 out here in the top of the first. He starts the day batting .365. There's a swing and a miss of that first offering by Gakey. So 0-1 the count on Solomon. Comes the 0-1. Little bit low. Ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top half of the first inning. Comes the 1-1. There's a foul straight back to the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Solomon. Comes the wind and the pitch from Gakey. There is a hard hit ground ball at Still. 1 hop, steps on the bag for the second out of the inning. That's going to bring up Wilson. Wilson starts the day batting .382, also on the left-handed side. Here comes the pitch. There's a swing and a foul ball. 0-1 the count, so the first 3 hitters in the lineup for the Greyhounds are batting on the left-handed side. Here comes the pitch. There's a ground ball headed for right field. That's going to be a 2-out hit for Wilson. Going to bring up Morrow. He's the left fielder. He's the cleanup hitter. He starts the day batting .470. He'll step in on the right-handed side with 2 outs and a runner at first after that 2-out base hit to right field by Wilson. High for ball 1. 1-0 the count. To the number 4 hitter, Morrow. Here comes the pitch. A little bit outside. Ball 2, 2-0 to Morrow. Comes the 2-0, going to throw over to first. Back in safely is Wilson. Two and 0 the count tomorrow. 2 outs, runner at first. Here comes the pitch. Sweeping curveball catches the outside corner for strike 1 called. 2 balls, 1 strike. To the number 4 hitter for the Greyhounds. Comes the stretch in the 2-1. Foul ball back and out of play. So lots of 2s, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Wilson at first, Morrow at the plate. Throw back over to first, back in safely on a very close play. Just about had him, but not quite. 2-2 the count to Morrow. Comes the pitch, runner goes. Ball is thrown into center field. So aim was a little off by Adam North, throws it into center field, even over Santiago's head, who was backing things up. So Wilson moves to third. He has the stolen base and then moves up on the throw to the outfield. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, runner at third. Here comes the pitch. There's a foul ball back and out of play. So we'll do the 3-2 again. It's a ground ball back to the pitcher, over to the first baseman for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Blue Devils take a 1-run lead. We will look to see if we can get things straightened out. I'll be back in a moment. All right, here we go. I think I got everything straightened out. Here we go to the top half of the second. The Blue Devils take a 1-0 lead on a sac fly, move up, and then score on a throwing error. There's a fly ball hit into right center. On the run is Pittman, and he can't quite make the play, so that is going to be a leadoff double for Fraley. So that Moore's going to step in. Moore's the shortstop. He'll start the day at .339 batting average. So a leadoff double by Fraley. There is a foul ball down into the bullpen area of the Blue Devils. So Schumacher tagging at second on the fly to right field, moves up, and the throw is wide and gets away from the third baseman, and he is able to score. There's a play back to second base. Back in safely is Fraley. Owen won the count to Moore. Runner at second. Here comes the pitch. Outside, nicely blocked by North. One ball, one strike to Moore. Fraley at second. Hit a leadoff double to right center. Pittman could not quite get to it. There is outside ball 2, 2-1. The ball hit by the right-handed hitter is tailing away from him, and Combs was too far away to get there. Two balls, one strike. The count on Moore. Here's the stretch and the pitch by Gakey. There is a line drive into center field. That ball is going to get off the glove and going to be a play at the plate, safe. So that ball just gets off the glove of Pittman. We'll see how they're going to score that. I know that Pittman is hard on himself. He's thinking that that's an error, but nonetheless, that's the tying run. Scores from second base on that misplayed ball into center field. So 1-1 the Tide, nobody out. Comes the pitch. There's a fly ball off of Kiefer's back to left field. That's going to be taken care of by Schumacher for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Kazarin. He's the second baseman. He'll bat with one out and a runner at second base. In Moore, here comes the pitch. Just misses a little bit outside, ball one. A little bit outside, ball two. Comes the 2-0 pitch. It's a high chopper toward Green at third base. He looks the runner back at second and over to Still. So a 5-3 out on Kazarin, and that takes us back to the top of the order with 2 outs and a runner at second. McConnell steps in with a runner at second. Score tied at 1. Runner at second and 2 outs. He popped out to the first baseman his first time up. There's a swing and a miss on a high fastball. Comes the 0-1. The fly ball lifted into left center. Schumacher and Pittman on the run. Pittman with a nice running catch. So at the end of 1.5 innings, the score is tied at 1. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right, here we go to the bottom half of the second inning. Score tied at 1. Mooney's going to lead it off. He started the day batting at .324. He'll step in as he leads off the bottom half. He squares to bunt. Bottom half of the second, he takes strike one called. Squares to bunt, pulls it back. Takes strike one called. Comes the pitch. There's a line drive foul down the left field line between the foul line and Coach Goldbeck. So just a little bit too early. Swinging there was Mooney. He's down in the count 0-2. Gifford and Combs scheduled up next. There's a high ball clear back to the screen. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Folsom, the pitcher on the mound for the Greyhounds. Comes the wind and the 1-2 pitch to Mooney. A little bit low, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes as Mooney leads off the bottom half of the second inning. Sorry for the technical difficulty. I think I've got things lined out again. Comes the pitch. A little bit low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Those last 2 pitches look pretty good from up here, but judged as balls by the home plate umpire. Here comes the 3-2. There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Gifford. Gifford starts the day batting .286. He'll step in on the left-handed side, facing the tall right-hander from Fort Scott Greyhounds. Here comes the pitch. Foul ball backing out of play. 0-1 the count on Gifford. 1-1 tie as the Blue Devils bat here in the bottom of the second. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. A little bit low, ball 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. 1 run for each of the teams. Here comes the 1-1. That ball is right at the belt for a called strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Comes the 1-2. Strike 3 called at the knees inside corner. A little bit of heat there and a called strike. So 2 strikeouts here in the inning for Folsom. Combs is going to step in. Combs starts the day batting .324. He's the right fielder. Steps in on the left-handed side with 2 outs. Here tied at 1 in the bottom of the second. There's strike at the knees on the outside corner, strike called. Comes the 0-1. A little bit inside, flinched by the umpire. Had a notion to call that a strike, but didn't. 1 ball, 1 strike to Combs. There's a line drive into right field. Gets over the right fielder. The right fielder steps in, and then the ball sails over his head. So Combs headed for third, and that is going to be a triple by Rory Combs, a 2-out triple. That's going to bring up Adam North. So North will step in. He's starting the day at .241. He'll step in on the right-handed side with 2 outs and Combs at third base. So the go-ahead run only 90 feet away. Here comes a pitch. There's a high chopper at the third baseman. He's up with it and over to first for the out. So the Blue Devils get a triple, but after 2 outs, can't get him in. Scores tied at 1 at the end of 2 full innings. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right, on to the top of the third. Gakey back to the mound for his third inning of work. Score tied at 1. The Fort Scott Community College Greyhounds being hosted in Kansas City, Kansas, on the campus of Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Squares to bunt, takes called strike 1, does Solomon. Solomon grounded out to the first baseman unassisted. His first time up. Comes the pitch, a little bit low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. As Solomon leads off the top half of the third for the Greyhounds. Comes the 1-1 from Gakey. Foul ball out of play, sprayed over the top of the third base dugout. Comes the wind and the 1-2. A little bit low and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a foul ball out of play, so we'll do the 2-2 again. There is a swing and a miss for the first out of the inning. So down on strikes is Solomon. That's going to bring up Wilson. Wilson had a base hit to right field. His first time up, he'll step in with 1 out and nobody on as his Greyhounds bat here in the top of the third. This first game, a scheduled 7-inning game. There's a little bit low, ball 1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Score 1-1. Comes the wind and the pitch from Gakey. Sails a little bit inside, ball 2. So 2-0 the count on Wilson. There is a foul ball sprayed down into the bullpen of the Blue Devils. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Gakey facing left-handed hitting Wilson. First 4 out of 5 hitters bat left-handed. Here comes the pitch. There is a foul ball, so Wilson just barely gets a piece of that one to stay alive. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. There is a ground ball just a little bit foul down first base line. So we'll do the 2-2 again. Comes the pitch. Just a little bit outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out to the left-handed hitting Wilson. A fly ball into shallow left field. Schumacher on, fights the sun a little, and he takes care of that for the second out of the inning. That's going to bring up Morrow. Morrow had a base on balls his first time up. He'll step in to face Gakey here in the top of the third with 2 outs. Here comes the wind and the pitch from Gakey. Strike, curveball outside corner at the knees, strike 1. Comes the 0-1. Curveball just gets back to the inside corner. 0-2. Comes the 0-2 from Gakey. Outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the cleanup hitter, Morrow. He's up there with 2 outs and nobody on. Foul ball. One ball, 2 strikes tomorrow. Here comes the Gakey pitch. Just misses a little bit outside, so lots of deuces. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Greyhounds batting here in the top of the third. 7-inning game followed by a 9. Outside, ball 3. Saturday, the Blue Devils will travel down to Fort Scott, Kansas for the remainder of the 4-game series, a 7 and a 9 down there. Outside, ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued to Morrow, the number 4 hitter. That's going to bring up Waterbury. Waterbury made out his first time up. He started the day batting at .460. He's the first baseman. He'll bat left-handed. He'll step in with 2 outs and Morrow at first base. Score tied at 1. There is a line drive into the bullpen of the Greyhounds. Strike called. So 0-2 the count on Waterbury. Comes the stretch and the 0-2. Strike 3 called, upper limits of that strike zone. So at the end of 2.5, the Blue Devils are tied with the Greyhounds of Kansas City, Kansas Community College at 1. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right, here we go to the bottom half of the third inning. Back to the top of the order for the Blue Devils. Schumacher, Pittman, and Santiago scheduled up. For KCK, Schumacher walked his first time up and scored on a sac fly that ended with an errant throw to allow him to score. A little bit low and outside, ball one. So 1 run on 3 hits and an error by the Greyhounds. 1 run on no hits for the Blue Devils. There's a foul ball out of play down the left field line, so 1 ball, 1 strike. Score tied at 1 here in the bottom of the third. Schumacher leading off, trying to get things started for the Blue Devils. Here comes a pitch outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike to left-handed hitting Schumacher. Schu, the left fielder. Comes the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Took a little off of that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Comes the wind and the pitch by Folsom. There is a ball lifted into right field. That's going to be a base hit by Schumacher. So Schumacher muscles one into right field for a base hit. That's going to bring up Pittman. Pittman walked his first time up. He'll be up there with nobody out and Schumacher at first. Find out if maybe we're going to play a little small ball here with a bunt or not. Here comes the stretch and the pitch from Folsom. Squared to bunt, and it's down toward the third baseman. Third baseman up with it and over to first base, but the sac bunt is executed by Pittman. He does his job. Runner in scoring position for Santiago with Schumacher at second base after that sac bunt. So that'll bring up Santiago. He started the day batting .441. He fouled out in foul territory to the first baseman his first time up. He's up there with 1 out and a runner at second in scoring position. That ball stayed up just a little bit, ball 1. Want to know the count. 1 out, 1 on. Score tied at 1. Comes the pitch from Folsom. There's a ball hit to deep left field. That ball is off the fence. Schumacher trips over third base, so he was going to score easily. Tripped over the bag, so Santiago sends one off the left center wall for a double, but is not able to score Schumacher. So Still will step in. He made out his first time up. Mama Still, I don't remember how he did. I was having a little trouble with my technology at that time and was working on that rather than paying attention. But he's going to step in with runners at second and third and 1 out. Take strike called on the outside corner, strike 1. So back-to-back base hits, Schumacher with a base hit, then Santiago with a double. Here comes the pitch. There's a fly ball to right field. Right fielder comes in. He's got it. We're going to have a play at the plate, but the ball is up the line. So a sac fly, RBI for Brandon Still. A nice job getting the ball to the outfield and in play. Santiago moves up to third, and the Blue Devils take a 2-1 lead on that sac fly by Brandon Still. That's going to bring up Green. Green also made out his first time up. He takes ball outside, ball 1. So 2-1 lead taken by the Blue Devils here in the bottom of the third. Here comes the wind and the 2-1 to Green. That ball's a little bit low, so 2-0 to Green. Green, the third baseman. Comes the 2-0. There's a ground ball at the third baseman. He's up with it and over to first. So Solomon over to Waterbury for the third out. But a sac fly by Brandon Still puts the Blue Devils on top. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, Gakey back to the mound. He finishes his warm-up pitches here for the top of the fourth. So he's back for his fourth inning of work. Fraley, Moore, and Kiefer scheduled up for the Greyhounds. Kiefer had a double. Fraley had a double to right center his first time. He takes outside and low, ball one. Here comes the 1-0. Curveball right across there at the belt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gakey works quickly. Here comes the wind in the 1-1. A little bit low. Ball 2, 2-1 the count to Fraley. Fraley, the designated hitter, bats right-handed. There's a fly ball into center field. Pittman will take care of that for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Moore. Moore reached on a hit actually to center field is how it was scored on the scoreboard. I had scored it as an error. That official scoring will come from the coaching staff for the stats. Here comes the first pitch. There's a ball hit deep to left field. And that ball is out of here for a home run by Moore. Moore, the shortstop, and he ties the score here in the top of the fourth with just 1 out with a home run. That's going to bring up Kiefer. Kiefer flew out to left field his first time up. So a tie score again here with 2. Gakey back on the mound with the ball. There is a ground ball down to Brandon Still. Still grabs it, steps on first for the second out of the inning. That will bring up Kasarin. Kasarin grounded out to the third baseman his first time up. He'll be up there with 2 outs. There's a foul ball out of play down the right field line. 0-1 the count to Kasarin. Score tied at 2. There's a ball just about a foot foul down the left field line. So down in the count quickly, 0-2 is Kasarin. Alexei Kasarin, second baseman, number 7. He'll step back in. He bats right-handed. Down in the count to Gakey. Here's the wind and the pitch. Curveball. Swing and a miss. So at the end of 3.5, the score's tied at 2. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right. Welcome back to the campus of Kansas City, Kansas Community College, where they host the Fort Scott Community College Greyhounds. Mooney, Gifford, and Combs step in here in the bottom of the 4th. Score tied at 2. Folsom back for his 4th inning of work. There's a first pitch fly to right field. The right fielder Wilson on to take care of that for a 1-pitch, 1-out here in the bottom of the 4th. That's going to bring up Gifford. Gifford was called out on strikes his first time up. He'll step in with 1 out and nobody on as he bats here in the bottom of the 4th for the Blue Devils. Strike called outside corner at the knees. Comes the 0-1. There's a sharp hit ground ball right at the first baseman. Waterbury up without, steps on the bag for the 2nd out of the inning. It's going to bring up Combs. Combs had a triple to right field his first time up. The right fielder took 1 step in and then it was over his head. Here comes the pitch. Strike at the belt on the outside corner. Strike 1 called. Comes the 0-1. Fly ball lifted over to the left side. Everyone chasing. That ball is going to drop and be a hit into left field. A long run. A long run for Solomon, Moore, and Morrow. Nobody can get to it. So a 2-out hit for Mooney. Mooney with a walk-off home run the last Saturday. So North is going to step in. He'll do so with Combs at first and 2 outs. Strike taken on the outside corner. North grounded out to the third baseman on a high chopper. Nice play by Solomon at first. Or excuse me, at third. Misses a little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs to North as he bats here with 2 outs. There's a throw over to first base, back in safely is Combs. 2-2 score with the Blue Devils batting here in the bottom of the 4th. There is a hard hit ground ball at the third baseman. The third baseman, Solomon, up with it and over to Waterbury for the 3rd out of the inning. So at the end of 4 full innings of play, we are tied at 2. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, here we go to the top half of the fifth inning. Remember, the first game is a 7. The second one is a 9. Scheduled up for the Greyhounds, McConnell, Solomon, and Wilson, the 1, 2, 3 hitters. Gakey back to the mound for his fifth inning of work. Here comes the pitch to McConnell. Strike at the belt, strike 1 called. Comes the wind in the 0-1 from Gakey. The fly ball to right field. Going back is Combs, and that is over the fence. So a leadoff home run here for McConnell for the Greyhounds to take a 3-2 lead as they bat here in the top of the fifth. So Solomon will step in. He grounded out to the first baseman and struck out his first 2 times up. He'll step in with nobody on and nobody out. That misses a little bit low, ball 1. Comes the wind and the pitch from Gakey. There's a foul ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to the number 2 hitter in the lineup, Solomon. He's the third baseman. Comes the 1-1. There's a ground ball foul down the first baseline. One of the things I like best about Cole Gakey when he's on the mound is he doesn't show a bunch of emotion. He's been ahead, he's been tied, he's behind. He just comes down the hill throwing at you. There's a pitch a little bit outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Solomon. Comes the wind in the 2-2. A little bit outside, ball 3. So a leadoff home run by McConnell now, a 3-2 count with Solomon. Here comes the pitch. There's a swing and a miss for a strikeout for the first out of the inning. It's going to bring up Wilson. Wilson had a base hit to right field and flew out to left field his 2 at-bats. He bats on the left-handed side. He'll step in with his Greyhounds leading 3-2 here in the top of the fifth. Takes strike 1 outside part of the plate at the belt. 0-1 the count. Here comes the wind and the pitch by Gakey. There's a fly ball lifted into deep left center. That ball is going to hit and roll to the fence. So a stand-up double. Stand-up double for Wilson to the left center gap. So 1 out, runner at second. That's going to bring up Morrow. Morrow, the number 4 hitter, he'll step in on the right-handed side. We'll see if they choose to give him anything to hit. Started the day as a 470 hitter. There's a throw back to second base, back in safely is Wilson. Three to 2 lead for the Greyhounds as they bat here in the top of the fifth. There's a fly ball to deep center field. And that ball is over the fence for a 2-run home run by Morrow. So that brings the count to 5-2. Waterbury steps in. He fouls one down the first baseline. Here comes the 0-1 to Waterbury. Sails just a little bit inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. 3 runs in the inning. A home run. And then a 2-run home run. There he misses high and outside. Ball 2, 2 balls, 1 strike. So a home run, a strikeout, a double, and a home run accounts for 3 runs. Here comes the pitch from Gakey. There's a ground ball at Stills. Stills going to take it, step on the bag for the second out of the inning. So Waterbury out 3 unassisted. 2 outs to Fraley. Fraley will step in. He's had a double and flew out to center field. He'll step in with 2 outs and nobody on. Here comes the pitch from Gakey. There's a pop-up into shallow right field. Mooney calling for that. He puts it away. So at the end of 4 1/2 on those 2 home runs and a double, a 5-2 lead taken by the Greyhounds. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right, here we go to the bottom half of the 5th. Schumacher steps in. He takes strike 1 at the knees outside corner. Schumacher has walked and had a base hit to right field. He steps in with nobody on and nobody out. Just misses a little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schumacher, Pittman, and Santiago scheduled up. 2 runs down, 5-2 the score. Greyhounds lead. There's a ground ball just past the diving shortstop for a leadoff base hit by Schumacher. It's going to bring up Pittman. Pittman's walked and had a sac bunt. He'll step in with a runner at first and nobody out. Blue Devils trailing 5-2 as they bat here in the bottom of the 5th. There's a foul ball over the first base dugout, now to play. Comes the 0-1 to Pittman. Strike called outside corner. 0-2 the count. To the count to Pittman. Schumacher at first. There's a throw over to Schumacher. Back in safely at first. Blue Devils with 1 in the first, 1 in the third. Greyhounds with 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the 5th on 2 home runs. There's a swing and a miss for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Santiago. Santiago popped out to the first baseman in foul territory his first time up, and then a double off the wall his second time up. He steps in with 1 out and a runner at first in Schumacher. There's a throw back over to first, back in safely is Schumacher. Waterbury didn't even apply the tag. Comes the stretch by Folsom. A little bit low and inside, ball one. 1-0 the count to Santiago. He bats here with one out and a runner at first. Outside, ball two. 2-0 the count. One out on a strikeout to Pittman after the base hit by Schumacher. That's low for ball three. So Santiago 3-0 in the count. We'll see if he's taken or if he's got the green light. Comes the pitch. There's strike inside part of the plate at the knees. There's a base hit into right field. Schumacher is going to come around third, and he is going to score. So Santiago with a triple to right field for an RBI makes the score 5-3. So that's going to bring up Still had a sacrifice fly to score a run. There's a ground ball headed for right field. So there's an RBI. One out single by Brandon Still to make a 5-4 count. So 5-4 the score. A little visit to the mound here. It's going to bring up Green. Green will step in with Still at first base. One out. 2 runs in the inning for the Blue Devils to cut the lead to 5-4. Folsom stays in the game, Still takes the lead. Green steps in. Strike called to Green, 0-1 the count. Bottom of the fifth action, 5-4. The Greyhounds lead by 1. There's a foul ball back over the first base dugout and out of play. So 0-2 the count. The count to Green. Comes the stretch and the pitch. That hits him. So that's going to put Green at first and Still at second and bring up Mooney. Mooney will step in. He struck out and flew out. Catcher's going to go out and visit a little bit, maybe trying to buy a little bit of time for the pitcher warming up in the bullpen. I think we're going to get a pitching change here pretty directly, buying just a little bit of time. Now the coach from the Greyhounds is going to head up, going to make a change. We'll get the number of the new pitcher. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KC Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! Richter, right-handed pitcher, comes in relief for the Greyhounds. Green back to first, Still back to second. 1 out, Mooney back to the plate. Mooney steps in with 2 on and 1 out. Greyhounds lead by 1. Strike right down the middle at the knees. 0-1 the count to Mooney. Mooney, the second baseman. Tying run at second base. High and inside, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mooney. Comes the stretch and the 1-1 pitch from Richter. There's a swing and a miss by Mooney. So down in the count, 1-2. Still at second, Green at first. 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Mooney. Richter on in relief of Folsom. Time asked for by Mooney and granted. Misses just a little bit outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mooney. Comes the stretch and the 2-2. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. It's going to bring up Gifford. Gifford was called out on strikes his first time out and hit a hard ground ball at the first baseman for a 3 unassisted out. So he steps in with 2 outs and 2 on. With 2 runs in here in the bottom of the 5th. Blue Devils trail by 1. That is a strike called at the knees. 0-1 to Gifford. A little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike to the DH, left-handed hitting Gifford. It's a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Comes the stretch and the 1-2 pitch by Richter. in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on, 2 runs in here in the inning. Blue Devils trail the Fort Scott Greyhounds by 1. Comes the 2-2. The pop up back and out of play. So we'll do the 2-2 again. Comes the stretch from Richter. Swing and a miss. So at the end of 5 full innings, the Greyhounds lead 5-4 over the Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Blue Devils will take a break. We'll be back for the 6th and 7th inning of this one. To the top of the 6th we go. Cole Gakey back to the mound for another inning of work for the Blue Devils. Scheduled up for the Greyhounds, Moore, Kiefer, and Kasarin. Last time up, Moore hit a home run to left field. He steps in as he leads off the top of the 6th. There's a line drive into left field. So a leadoff base hit by Moore. That'll bring up Kiefer. Kiefer is flown out and grounded out to the first baseman still. He'll step in with the leadoff hitter on first after that base hit to left field facing Gakey. Throw back over to first, back in safely is Moore. Comes the pitch, squares to bunt. Takes ball 1. Want to know the count. Kiefer squared the bunt but pulled it back for ball 1. Five to 4 lead for the Greyhounds as they bat here in the top of the 6th. 7-inning game is this first one. There's a throw to first, back in, safe. Comes the 1-0, squares to bunt, pulls back again, misses just a little bit inside. So 2-0 the count on Kiefer. Kiefer's the catcher. Comes the stretch and the 2-0. Going to go back over to first, back in safely is Moore. 2-0 the count. 5-4 lead by the Greyhounds here in the top of the 6th. Throw back over to first, back in safely again. Squares to bunt, and that's foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. Gakey to Kiefer. Comes the stretch and the 2-1. Going to go back over to first. Safe again. Comes the pitch. There's a bunt. Still is up with it. Throws it down to Mooney, covering for the out. So the sack bunt executed by Kiefer. Still to Mooney for the out. So 1 out with a runner at second for Kazarin. Kazarin has grounded out to the third baseman and struck out. He steps in with 1 out and a runner at second base. Curveball misses just a little bit outside. One and 0 the count. Adam North, the catcher, asks for timeout and gets it. Kasarin at the plate. Kiefer at second. 1 out. 5-4 lead by the Greyhounds. There's a foul ball straight back to the screen. So 1 ball and 1 strike and 1 out, 1 on here in the top of the 6th. 5 runs on 8 hits and 2 errors by the Greyhounds. 4 runs on 6 hits and no errors by the Blue Devils. Here comes the 1-1. There is a bunt. Gakey off the mound, throw down to first for the out. So the runner moves to third, but Gakey hustles off the mound for a ball that was bunted fairly hard for the 1-3 out. Runner at third, 2 outs. Back to the top of the order for McConnell. McConnell hit a home run his last time up. Comes the pitch. The fly ball to right field. Combs is measuring that, and he's got it. So at the end of 5 1/2, the Greyhounds leave the Blue Devils 5-4. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, to the bottom of the 6th we go. Blue Devils trail 5-4 to the Fort Scott Community College Greyhounds. Scheduled up is Combs, North, and Schumacher. Wouldn't be surprised to see a pinch hitter, but maybe not. There's low and outside ball 1. Comes the 1-0. Foul ball right back at me. 1 ball, 1 strike. To the right fielder, Combs. Misses just a little bit low. A little bit outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Comes the pitch from Richter, a little bit inside. Actually, it was 3 runs. 3-1, so that is a walk to Combs. That's going to bring up North. North has hit the ball twice hard and been at the third baseman for 5-3 putouts 2 times in a row. He's up there with 1 on and nobody out, squares to bunt, and takes high and inside, ball 1. Runner at first, nobody out. Base on balls issued to Combs by Richter. Richter on in relief of Folsom. Comes the 1-0, squares to bunt, takes a little bit low. 2-0 the count to Adam North, the catcher. Looking to get a sac bunt on the turf. Comes the 2-0, takes low, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Adam North. He's trying to sack Combs over to second base to get this game tied up. Strike on the outside corner at the knees. So 3 balls and a strike to North. He didn't even square that time, taking all the way. See if he comes back to the bunt here. Comes the 3-1. He squares to bunt. High and inside almost. Hits him. So a base on balls to North. So back-to-back base on balls by Richter. So back to the top of the order we go. Schumacher will step in. He's going to be up there with no outs. Runners at first and second. He's walked, had a base hit to right field, then a base hit to center field. He'll be up there with a runner in scoring position at second and another right behind him at first. Good speed on the paths. Comes the pitch, squares to bunt, gets it out. Pitcher off the mound to get it. So Schumacher with the sac bunt moves the runners. So now runners at second and third for Pittman. Pittman has walked, had a sac bunt, and struck out. He'll be up there with 1 out. Runners at second and third. The tying run at third. The go-ahead run at second with 1 out. Strike called at the knees, outside corner. Comes the stretch and the 0-1 from Richter. Strike outside part of the plate at the knees. So quickly 0-2 the count on Pittman. RBI opportunity here to tie or put the Blue Devils ahead. There's a hit into left field. Going to tag and score. So a sac fly scores Combs to tie the score at 5. It's going to bring up Santiago. Scoreboard has 6-4. They'll probably need to fix that. Believe it's 5-5. Strike outside part of the plate at the belt. 0-1 the count. Runner at second. Little bit low. Ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Sac fly to tie the game by Pittman. Down 0-2 in the count, or down with 2 strikes in the count. A nice job of getting the sac fly to the outfield. There is a ground ball headed up the middle, hits the bag, bounces back to the shortstop. That's going to be a base hit for Santiago. That's going to bring up Still. Going to have a visit to the mound by the coach. We'll take a break. We'll be back after that visit for the rest of this one. Forties is an independently owned company broadcasting KCK Blue Devils baseball. Its financial support is entirely based on viewers and listeners who subscribe or donate. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Go Blue Devils! All right, the visit to the mound is over. North back to third. Santiago back to first. Still steps in. Richter back to the mound. 2 outs. Runners at the corner. Still at the plate. First pitch taken strike at the knees outside part of the plate. 0-1 the count on Still. Inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Still batting here in the bottom of the 6th. Score tied at 5. Go ahead run at third, but 2 outs. Comes the pitch. Foul ball over the first base dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Brandon Still, the first baseman. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Score tied at 5. In the 6th, 7-inning game. There's a ball hit deep to left field. Going back as the left fielder. That ball's off the wall. So a 2 RBI stand-up double for Brandon Still. Brandon Still puts the Blue Devils up 7-5 here in the bottom of the 6th. So Brandon Still with 4 RBI in this game, 4 of the 7, puts the Blue Devils up 7-5. It's going to bring up Green. Outside, ball 1. Green's grounded out, been hit by a pitch, made out his first time up, and that was when I had some technical difficulty. So I'm not sure how he made out, but I know he did. Here's the 1-0 count, 1-0 pitch. There's a curveball, just misses a little bit low and outside. So 2-0 the count to Green after that double. with 2 RBI for Brandon Still. Comes the 2-0. That misses a little bit low for ball 3. Comes the stretch in the 3-0. Misses just a little bit low, so that's going to have runners at first and second and bring up Mooney. Mooney struck out twice and popped out. He'd like to get something on the outfield grass and get another RBI in this inning for the Blue Devils. That misses low and outside, ball 1. So a 7-5 lead been taken. They were down 1 when the inning started. Now they're up 2. They lead 7-5. Here comes the 1-0. Strike right through there, inside part of the plate at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Runners at first and second. Mooney at the plate. Comes the 1-1. Misses just a little bit low or inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Mooney, the second baseman, batting here in the bottom of the 6th. First game is a 7-inning game. Comes the stretch and the 2-1 by Richter. Foul ball straight back to the screen, so lots of 2s. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on for the Blue Devils. Blocked by the catcher, Kiefer, but just got far enough away that Still moved up to third. Runner at first, Green, did not move up, so now we've got a 3-2 count to Mooney at the plate. We've got Still at third. We've got Green at first. Here comes the 3-2, runner goes. Ball 4. So that's going to load up the bases for Gifford. Coach Golbeck going to visit with Gifford a moment. Gifford's going to be up there with 2 outs. Bases full of Blue Devils. He will be facing Richter. Richter on in relief of Folsom. 7-5 lead. Blue Devils batting here in the bottom of the 6th. 3 runs in to take a 7-5 lead. There's a high fly ball into right center. Right fielder calling for it, and he has it. So 7-5 lead for the Blue Devils. They need 3 outs from Gakey and his defense behind him to put this one in the books. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, here we go to the top half of the 7th inning. Solomon, Wilson, and Morrow scheduled up for the Greyhounds. Gakey back to the mound for his 7th inning of work. The Blue Devils need 3 outs to put this one in the books. Here comes the pitch. There's a strike right at the knees, inside part of the plate, strike called. Solomon has grounded out to the first baseman and then struck out twice. There's low and inside, ball 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Solomon, who leads off the top of the 7th for the Greyhounds. They need 2 to keep this thing going. There's a foul ball back into the net, strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes. There's a foul ball, so just gets a piece of that to stay alive, does Solomon. Batting on the left-handed side, facing Gakey for the 4th time. Comes the Gakey wind in the pitch. Curveball stays outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gakey wanted to get that one just on the outside corner to sit him down, but it didn't happen. Here comes the wind in the 2-2. Little bit outside, ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Solomon. Solomon, the 3rd baseman, left-handed hitter. Comes the 3-2. There's a foul ball, just stays alive. Comes the wind in the 3-2. Swing and a miss on the high fastball, so sits him down for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring out Wilson. Wilson will step in with 1 out and nobody on. He's had a base hit, a double, and a pop out. Flew out to left field, actually. Here comes the pitch. In the dirt, blocked nicely by North. Comes the 1-0. A little bit outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count, 1 out. Wilson, the right fielder, at the plate, batting left-handed. Comes the pitch. Check, swing, strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. 7-5 lead for the Blue Devils. There's a fly ball out of play down the left field line. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Greyhounds down to their last 2 outs for the moment. They need 2 to keep this going. Comes the wind in the 2-2 from Gakey. There's a swing and a miss for the 2nd out of the inning. Gakey came with a little bit of heat there and blew it right by him. That's going to bring up Morrow. Morrow has walked twice and had a 2-run home run. He'll step in with 2 outs and nobody on. Blue Devils need an out to finish this one up. The Greyhounds need 2 to keep it going. Here comes the first pitch to Morrow, and it hits him on the front shoulder. That's going to bring up Waterbury. Waterbury has made out the first time that I missed, then called out on strikes, and then grounded out. 3 unassisted to Still at first base. Outside, ball 1. So the tying run has made it to the plate with 2 outs, Gakey's gone all the way. Just misses low and outside. So 2-0 the count to Waterbury. A little bit outside. Thought he was going to go with that one, but he didn't. So 3-0 the count. There is strike called. Adam North completely lost his glove on that one. 3-1 the count to Waterbury. There's a swing and a miss by Waterbury. So 3-2 the count. Brandon Steele will go back behind the runner. Left-handed hitter, save anything from going into the corner. Runner will be off with the pitch. Comes the stretch and the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. And that finishes this one. So Gakey with a complete game win. The 7-inning game goes to the Blue Devils. 7-5 will shut things down for now. I appreciate those of you that listened and or watched. We're going to take about a 30-minute break. We'll get the umpires to switch positions, get everybody warmed up and ready to go. I appreciate you. We'll be back with the second one in about 30 minutes.